Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I was unfaithful with about 20 guys.
She says she can't stop cheating on her husband.
I definitely don't rub it in his face.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You put this on social media. Don't tell me you don't rub it in his face.
She calls it an addiction.
A man messaged asking for sex. You didn't say, no, I'm a wife and mother. You said, no, I'm G's girl. Who's G?
One of the guys she had an affair with. You're saying you're his, so be his.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, Angela and her husband Dan seem like the picture-perfect couple. Now, they have 4 beautiful daughters and are prominent members of their church. Angela was a preschool teacher and had a beautiful house. They seem to have it all. But what their friends, neighbors, and church congregation didn't know is that Angela has a secret. Angela says she cannot stop being unfaithful to her husband. And it's not just one man. She says she's been with nearly 20 different men in just the last few years. Now, Angela says her first affair happened after Dan refused to give her money to host a brunch with her girlfriends. Take a look.
The first time I was unfaithful to Dan, it was because I was upset with him. I had a women's breakfast plan for me and my girlfriends. For whatever reason, he just woke up that morning and was just being a jerk. I asked him for money. Dan told me no. I'm a brat. I'm not really sure how else to put it. I got really upset and I reached out to an ex from the past. One thing led to another and we ended up having sex. When I got home, Dan immediately knew that something was wrong. He just kind of had a sixth sense.
She was behaving totally different and very distant.
2 days later, I did come clean.
I felt gutted, cut completely down the middle in half. I felt like a part of me died that day.
He was completely devastated, freaking out. He made me call the guy and tell him that I would never want to talk to him or see him again. After the first affair, I did make a vow to Dan that I would never cheat on him again. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
Well, Angela says after she admitted to her first affair, Dan's nonstop questioning drove her into the arms of other numerous men. Well, he's gonna ask questions, right? Take a look at this.
Following the first affair, Dan didn't give me a chance to redeem myself. Dan continuously accused me of talking and seeing other men when I wasn't. I just figured that if he was gonna accuse me, I was just gonna go ahead and do it. For 2 whole years, I just did it whenever I wanted to do it. So I was unfaithful to Dan with about 20 guys. I slept with friends from high school, people that I met at the casino where I worked, mutual friends on Facebook. I was intimate with guys 3 to 4 times a week. I would tell Dan that I had to work late when I got off earlier. On another occasion, I would tell him that I would have to cover shifts when I didn't have to go to work at all. There were times where I would leave for a couple days at a time to have sexual encounters. One time I even went out of town on a work vacation with another man. I ended up being gone for 5 days. At the time, I didn't feel any remorse. I was out of control. When I'm talking to these guys, I just get some sort of high of knowing how good they are in bed. I enjoy the danger, the risk, and the thrill of all of it. I have had sex that has involved choking and bondage. I've even had sex with a guy who happens to be a drug dealer. I've even been to trap houses and drug houses to meet this person. I do this for the excitement of it all. When I'm out doing these things, I completely block out being a wife, being a mother. It's just completely gone in my mind. For the longest time, I was able to keep all of my affairs a secret until one day my daughter found a video on my phone and showed it to Dan. Dan completely flipped out. When people look at me, they would never even think that I had a sexual addiction. I'm a wife, mother of 4 children. I've taught preschool. I've owned my own business, which is all completely opposite of the life I've been living. I know what I've done is wrong, but it's a struggle.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Are you?
Yes,
Why?
because I'm gonna get help.
Now, you said Dan has begged me to stop, but I just can't. You don't really want to stop, do you?
Yes, I do want to stop.
Why? You just said I get all of this out of it, so why would you want to not have that?
Because my family and having my husband is a lot more important to me than that.
You rub this in his face. What is your goal?
No, I definitely don't rub it in his face.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You put this on social media.
Yeah.
You say, I'm the side chick. You put it on social media. Don't tell me you don't rub it in his face. I'm trying to get to the point of why you're doing what you do. Right. I focus on why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. I'm trying to figure out not why you're having the affairs. I'm trying to figure out why you're rubbing it in his face.
Yeah, there was a time period where we just were extremely, mean to each other. We were extremely ruthless to each other.
This was July 27th of last year. Girls can be nice, give second chances, be honest, be fun. They won't make you look stupid. Rub your back, be there when you need them, be down when you say let's go, check to see how your day is going. Be patient, makes time out of her already busy day, and y'all clowns still find a way to mess it up. A male posts wondering if Angela is referring to him. Angela, not you though. You're the best side dude. You're a married woman and you're out here chit-chatting and flirting like you're in high school with your boyfriends.
Right.
Take me through the moment you're typing this stuff. What's your motive at the time?
Okay. So I have to kind of just say that there were 2 years, within these 2 years, I was completely, didn't care. I didn't care how Dan felt. I didn't care what anybody else thought about me. I didn't care how anybody else viewed what I was going through because I was so hurt at the time, just regarding everything that had transpired. I have the mindset that I don't care because people don't know everything that goes on behind the closed doors of my home. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely a point in time where people looked at me as I was heartless. Because I was.
So what was going on behind closed doors that made you to the point that you said, I don't care, I'm going to do what feels good in the moment?
Dan's pretty controlling. He's pretty controlling regarding a lot of things that I do, a lot of people who I talk to. Just the fact that I am with kids every single day, all day. I feel like I don't have any kind of adult interaction sometimes, and that's not everybody can do what in the field that I was in.
Well, so was he proportionately vigilant?
Sometimes.
If you say he's watching what you're doing, it sounds to me like he needed help to watch what you were doing.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go out, go have a drink with my girlfriends, go out to dinner. Just basically anything that I wanted to do was not a good idea to him unless he was there.
But you've kind of proven him correct.
Yeah, definitely. In
needing to be hypervigilant here. Angela says she's different now and wants to change. And let me tell you, people change, absolutely. You can say leopard doesn't change his spots. Nice saying and good visual, not true. People do change, people can change. When their motivations change, their behavior follows. Well, something happened 3 weeks ago that makes me wonder if we've hit one of those points or maybe we really haven't. We'll be right back.
Angela has no shame. She's come home with hickeys on her neck. She's had unprotected sex. When Angela would come home, she would act nonchalant, like nothing happened.
And later,
when this last affair happened, and she wanted to please let me come back home, said, no, you need a different level of help.
This is that different level. Hear me.
Where we are.
Most of my affairs have just been completely about the thrill and the excitement, but there have been a couple that were emotional. I had an emotional affair with one guy. He would tell me that he loved me, but I wouldn't say it back. Another time, I formed an emotional relationship with a man at the casino where I worked. He was also married, and we talked every day. We both would say, I love you, but it just became too much of a heavy emotional connection. I had to break it off, even though I was really emotionally attached to this guy, because I knew I was getting into something that was wrong.
Well, Dan says his wife Angela often packs a bag, turns off her phone, and disappears for days at a time to have sexual liaisons with other men. Now, he says the hardest part in all of this is that he doesn't think Angela is capable of stopping her cheating ways.
Angela is not capable of being faithful right now. Angela has a huge desire for men to tell her she's beautiful, and if she doesn't get that affirmation, she will go find it. The last 2 years have been an absolute hell. There were times where she would pack a bag and she would just be gone. She would turn off her phone, social media, her location finders. It was like she disappeared. When Angela would come home, she would act nonchalant. It was like nothing happened. Angela has no shame and does not respect our marriage at all. There have been times where she's come home with hickeys on her neck. I know for a fact she's had unprotected sex. On top of that, she has rubbed her affairs in my face. One time she sent a message to me on Instagram that said, "It doesn't feel so good when I mess with somebody else, does it?" On multiple occasions, I've came across posts on social media with her and other guys. When you don't get to see your boyfriend on Valentine's Day until after 9 p.m., hashtag you're the side chick. She's telling the guy she was having an affair with that she's a side chick, and that's just how it's gonna be. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't breathe. Last summer, Angela and the guy she was having an affair with had a falling out. This guy got upset and sent me a video of them having sex. It was the most horrific feeling I've ever felt. It got even worse. The same guy posted prerogative pics that she had sent him on Facebook for everyone to see. One time, my daughter brought me Angela's phone and was showing me a video of Angela kissing another man. I was beyond furious. At this point, I don't know if Angela can change or even if she wants to change.
Well, Dan, thanks for being here. This can't be a fun topic for you.
Not at all.
Do you want this marriage to work?
More than anything in the world.
Is it past that point?
I don't know.
You've not hit the point where too much is too much?
We're here today because I'm there.
You thought she had been involved with as many as 5 men, right?
Right.
How many actually have you been involved with?
About 20.
What's your reaction to that?
Disgust. Just mind-boggling. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand our mind process. I don't understand the decisions, where it comes from, why I can't be enough.
You've said that that annoys you.
Sometimes. I don't think it's just pain, but sometimes he can just be like over the top. Like, I understand that it's hurting, but when it's like a continuous.
But when the cheating is continuous, the hurt is continuous. Of course it's going to be pain. Of course I'm going to react probably like not, well, what's normal to reacting to this? Is there a normal behavior? The
normal response would be to look at her in your rearview mirror.
Right.
That would be the normal, that's the typical response. I mean, statistically, people always ask me, Dr. Phil, can couples survive infidelity? And the answer is yes, they can, but that doesn't mean they will, and it depends on the level, the magnitude, and whether or not the partner weaponizes the infidelity. And you have weaponized this infidelity. Men have sent videos to you having sex with your wife. And you knew those videos were being taken, correct?
No. A lot of the times I was just intoxicated and wasn't fully aware.
Now, just 3 weeks ago, Dan says that Angela called him and confessed that she had cheated yet again. But take a look at this.
I've worked really hard in the last 6 months. I've been extremely faithful to Dan, but I just slipped up about 3 weeks ago and had an affair.
While she was at the job interview, I had access to her messenger, and a guy she previously had an affair with sent her a message about getting together.
Dan totally freaked out. Something clicked in my mind. If he was freaking out about it, I might as well just go out and do it. So I did. I went to go see my friend, and we got a hotel.
She basically demanded to come back home and told me that we were going to get through it and work it out. I was like, no, we're done, but here we are.
Then you say 5 days ago, a man messaged asking for sex, and she declined because, quote, she's G's girl.
That's correct.
Who's G?
One of the guys she had an affair with. You have not only disrespected our marriage, our love, our children, our house, our family, but now you're saying you're his. So be his.
So you're saying you didn't say no. You didn't say, no, I'm a married wife and mother. You said, no, I'm G's girl.
Yeah, it was one of G's friends, which is why I responded like that. I just wanted him to stop talking to me.
Okay, Dan says he's so angry about his wife's betrayal that he's worried he's going to snap and kill her or one of her male suitors. We'll be right back.
There's this rage I have that stems from her countless betrayals and lies.
This is what he's decided to do to my bathroom.
Dan told me that he was going to end up killing me.
I'm going to snap.
And later, if there's anything worse than what she's doing, it would be what you're doing.
You don't have to explain
Hey, no,
every
she'll be
single
back
detail.
later. That shouldn't
Yeah.
even be a possibility.
Dan says his wife's blatant disrespect and multiple extramarital affairs have left him angry and often unable to control his rage. Take a look.
Angela's infidelity has consumed me, and I've become completely obsessed over it.
Following the first affair, it was horrible. Dan would cry every night. Other times he would become extremely angry. He would just scream and yell, throw things, slam doors.
At times, I've let my emotions get the best of me. There's this rage I have that stems from her countless betrayals and lies.
Dan would go down in the basement and just punch a wall. One time, there was just blood everywhere from him just going at it at the wall.
Back window busted, back gate busted. This right here is my mirror. There's glass all over the place.
Another time, Dan had a meltdown, busted everything in the house.
This is what he's decided to do to my bathroom. Busted up the toilet, busted up the sink, all of my clothes.
Was just completely ripped apart. Dan told me that if things kept going the way that they were, that he was going to end up killing me.
I am concerned that one day I'm going to snap and hurt or kill Angela and kill one of the men that she's involved with.
Okay, now guys, this is serious. This happens. You're playing a very dangerous game that you don't have the right to play. There are children involved here. There are children involved here. And when we got a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, and every one of them deserves the right to not be caught up in a literal crossfire, not to come home one day and find mom and dad or mom or dad dead because somebody lost control of their emotions because the two of you were not mature enough to work out what's going on here. Now, your behavior is outrageous. It has to stop. You know that. I'm not telling you. You know that, and I actually believe you do want to stop this because I'm going to ask you a few questions in a second, and it's going to tell him why he should believe you want to stop this. And look, I'm not even going to get into whether you are the perfect husband or not. I have no doubt that you're not a perfect husband. There's only one of those. Your behavior gives him a pass because what you're doing is what's called outrageous overshadowing. When one person's behavior is so outrageous that it overshadows the behavior of another. It might very well be that he has things he needs to change. And those things can be worked on, but not while you're doing what you're doing. You never fix problems in a marriage by turning away from your partner. You get my point? When you go and have one of these sexual assignations with somebody, and you're going back home, and you're dealing with your children, how do you feel about yourself for what you have done?
I try really hard not to feel. but I feel really horrible.
What kind of role model do you think you're setting for your daughters?
Definitely not a good one, and I've noticed that, the change, since it started with their behavior and things like that.
And they have said some very ugly things to you.
They'll just say, like, go out and get drunk and go see your boyfriend.
Have they called you names?
Yeah, they've called me whore, slut.
And how do you feel when your own daughters label you in that way?
Not good at all. They didn't even know what those words meant before all of this happened.
We'll talk more about that in a minute. Dan says not only has Angela abandoned their daughters during these sexual trysts, she's also put them in potential danger. What does he mean by that? We'll talk about that when we come back.
It is completely ridiculous that she has exposed the girls to her affairs.
The girls have told me to go get drunk or go be with my boyfriend and just be a whore. Dan actually told them about my affair. It was extremely inappropriate. It wasn't fair and it wasn't right.
Closed captioning provided by...
Angela was absolutely being a neglectful mom. When Angela was having these affairs, she absolutely put these men over our family. Because of her own stress and anxiety trying to hide everything, she would end up treating the girls like crap. There was times where she would smack them too hard, grab them, and leave marks on them. If things don't change, we're done. It's over. We're getting divorced.
Well, Angela says her eldest daughters were only 5 and 6 years old when Dan set them down and told them, Mommy cheated on Daddy. Now, 4 years later, Angela says Dan uses their daughters to help him collect evidence of her affairs.
Unfortunately, my daughters know about the affairs and they have a negative outlook about me.
It is completely ridiculous that she has exposed the girls to her affairs. They're awake when she's not home. They know what she's doing.
When my daughters were just 6 and 5, Dan actually told them about my affair. It was extremely inappropriate. It wasn't fair and it wasn't right. The girls actually asked me why would I cheat on Daddy and why would I make Daddy cry. I was completely speechless. It put me in a terrible position as a mother.
There are times where the girls know she's out having an affair before I even know.
They actually gang up on me. The girls have told me to go get drunk or go be with my boyfriend and just be a whore. To hear that from my own daughters is just complete devastation.
There have been times where I've been upset and cried in front of them, and my daughter would say, why do you even bother? Leave her. It is heart-wrenching, and it just speaks to the fact that they have lost hope.
My daughters have even gone through my phone and found things that weren't inappropriate and have showed it to Dan. It's completely unfair for the girls to be involved in any of this.
I'm absolutely terrified that my girls might grow up to be like their mother, and that can't happen.
If there's anything worse than what she's doing, it would be what you're doing by pulling those girls into awareness here. You just don't drag children into adult issues, and you just don't use them in
They're
this
there
game.
when she will call the babysitter and say, I'm going to see Daddy. And then Daddy comes home, and they're like, didn't Mommy come to see you? No, Mommy didn't come to see you. I don't know where Mommy's at. So, what you want me to do?
It would be your time to be a father and say, she'll be back later. Like, I'm not, like, you don't have to explain
Ain't
to
no
every
she'll be
single
back
thing.
later. That shouldn't even be a possibility.
Through those histrionics, there was a question buried in there. What do you want me to do? What I want you to do is be an adult. I want you to be the calm in the middle of the storm. I want you to say, I'm going to put my children's interest ahead of my own. Because Daddy's hurting, because that's selfish, and it's child abuse, and you don't do that. You don't do that.
When this last affair happened, and she wanted to please let me come back home, I said, No, you need a different level of help. You need a different level of help. And
Well,
we got to get
this
there.
is that different level. Hear
That's
me.
where we're at.
You don't say those things to
You're
your
right.
daughter. And you say, well, what do I say? She said she was with you and she's not. So what do I say? What you say is there was a change of plan. Don't worry about it. Let's go do something else right now. You handle that differently, because when you do what you do, you are recruiting them to your side against their mother. You have the daughters bring evidence.
No, I
to
don't
you.
have
They
them.
have showed you videos of another man.
I don't have them do it. They'll be on the phone. It's not like I set them up to do it. I didn't know anything was on the phone.
Well, shame on both of you for putting these children in the middle. Shame on both of you for putting these children in the middle. So is Angela doing all of this for attention? I think I have the answer. We're going to talk about it when we come back. Closed captioning provided by It's been 6 months since Dan's suspicions were confirmed when his wife Angela came clean about her countless affairs. Dan believes that her indiscretions stem from something deeper. Angela acknowledges that her childhood has had an immense impact on her behavior.
The reason why I'm experiencing some of these things today is because of the horrible things that have happened in my childhood. I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. I dealt with mental, emotional, and verbal abuse regularly. I was routinely physically abused by a family member who even broke my leg. From the time I was about 6 years old, I did sexual things with another family member for years, and a family member took provocative photos of me. I remember seeing pornography and I was enticed by it. I thought that it was completely normal. By the time I was 13, I lost my virginity to a boy who was 17 years old. After that, I just became completely promiscuous. I had sex with boys in the neighborhood, and I did this because I just wanted to feel something. I needed some sort of void filled. Because of all that, I have an issue with commitment. I feel like I'm just not good enough for anything. I tell Dan over and over again that I'm just not good enough for him, and I'm not good enough for the kids. The past does affect me today. I've tried to get over it, and I just can't seem to get past it.
You say that you've tried to get over it. What does that mean? What have your efforts entailed?
I've tried to forgive people, from the past who have hurt me, regardless of their viewpoint on it. I've tried to be a mom that I didn't have. I've tried to kind of, build something that I never thought that I would have.
Where was your mother when all this was going on? When the sexual abuse started happening, what was her involvement? What was her reaction?
She didn't know.
Did you ever tell her?
No.
There are things you wish you had gotten from the adults in your life earlier on that you just didn't get.
Right.
And there were things you got from some family members that you wish you didn't get. I ask you what you've done to try to deal with that, and you've tried to deal with it on your own. You've tried to forgive certain people. You've tried to say, I don't want to carry that legacy forward.
Right.
And have you talked to Dan about this?
Yeah, Dan has been really supportive regarding, just my childhood and moving past. And, we've brainstormed ideas and, we pray together and things like that. I had a conversation with my mom on the phone because it was weighing so heavy on me that I just needed to forgive her, and I just did a lot of self-reflection on, having a conversation with her. So when it ultimately happened, I didn't get the response that I was really hoping to get. But then again, I knew that it was something that I just kind of had to deal with on my own, and just kind of put it behind me. And that was actually happened just a week or two before the first affair, which I think might have had a lot to do with the mental state that I was in at the time.
Well, what if what you said isn't true? What if you don't have to deal with this alone? And what if you really can't deal with this alone? Well, Angela worries that she will never be faithful to her husband. He worries she'll never be faithful to him. I'm going to tell them both what I think needs to happen here after the break. Here's the thing, as we go through life, we all define a currency. When someone takes a child, particularly a young girl, and objectifies her and abuses her sexually, then oftentimes she learns that's what I have to offer, and it becomes your currency. And boy, when you step outside the marriage with someone, the adrenaline is rushing and they're telling you all the things that would be nice if it was every day, right? It also made you feel dirty. It also made you feel guilty. It also made you feel like you were doing something wrong. There are wounds in you that are gaping wounds that are open. And no matter how bad you want to be different, until those wounds are healed, you're not going to be different. And let me tell you this, and you need to hear this. This isn't about you. It's about what's happened to her before. Made some mistakes? Yes, you have made some mistakes. But I tell you, the one thing you haven't made is you have made the mistake of bailing on your family, your children, or your wife when she is hurt in a bad, bad way. And she has certainly given you a lot of reasons. And it takes a man to stay plugged into this, and I'm proud of you for doing it. Now, you do need help with this. I want you to meet Irene Jacobs right here. Irene, say hi.
Hi.
Now, Irene is the program director at Willow House, which is at the Meadows, and they have developed the framework of a program that deals with exactly what you're wrestling with here. And I say the framework of a program because they design very customized programs for each and every woman that they deal with. And Irene, you can help this woman, can you not?
Absolutely. Angela, Willow House is the leader with women dealing with sexual issues, and my team of certified sex addiction therapists can help you to dig deep into the trauma that led you to use, as Dr. Phil mentioned, your body as a sexual currency. We'll take a look at the anger and shame that is in there and how all of this is contributing to this addictive process. And you will find that healing at Willow House.
I'm making this offer of this help to you. Will you take it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Switching gears now, if you think your family tree is complicated, wait until you hear about my next guest's unusual family tradition. We'll meet them next. Closed captioning provided by... My next guests have a very interesting family tradition. The women in the family tend to do everything together. That's not so unusual, but it includes getting pregnant at the same time. But now that their children are getting older, they want to start focusing on something else, looking and feeling their best. Now, Darlene and her daughter Christine were pregnant at the same time 9 years ago. But Darlene's Aunt Lydia says she wasn't surprised because same-time babies have run in their family since the 60s. Take a look.
Looking at this picture, I realize we look like sisters. My daughter Christine and I happened to get pregnant at the same time.
Yes, it's true. It just happened. This happened before with my mother, my sisters, including myself.
It's a family joke that it's a family tradition.
We need to stop this family tradition because the family is getting too big.
Looking back at it now, yeah, I can't believe we were pregnant at the same time.
I know, I was radiant. I look stunning.
You do.
So now, instead of bonding over babies, we're bonding over issues with our skin. I found I have wrinkles, I have age spots, frown lines, uneven complexion.
The changes that I'm starting to see in my skin would be the fine lines.
My deep wrinkles and the lack of firmness in my face and neck bothers me.
My plan is to stop the aging process before it's too late.
I would like to stop the aging process altogether.
I think our family needs a new tradition. We may be aging, but we want to look good doing it.
Well, Christine, her mom Darlene, and Aunt Lydia are joining us in the audience. And also joining me here is dermatologist and spokesperson for the beauty brand number 7, Dr. Sonia Batra. So welcome.
Thank you.
Now, so Darlene, did you and your daughter Christine plan to have babies at the same time?
Definitely not.
Oh, you didn't plan it?
No. It
Okay.
just happened.
So now let me get this straight. So Darlene, your 9-year-old daughter is Christine's sister, and your 9-year-old daughter is also Christine's 9-year-old son's aunt. And Christine, did I have that right?
Yes, Dr. Phil, you do. It's a bit confusing, but the kids got it down and they all get along really well.
Okay, so that works. All right. So Aunt Lydia, you were part of this family tradition with your sisters and mom, right?
Right.
Okay, and why do you think so many women in your family have children at the same time?
Well, it was just a coincidence, you know, that it happened. But we are very, very, very caring family, and we do everything together.
Well, okay.
We do everything together.
That is a caring family. You do everything together. All right. I understand you ladies want to start a new family tradition, which is focusing on yourselves in particular, fighting aging skin. And I'm certainly no expert on that, but Dr. Batra certainly is. I'll leave this all to you.
Sure. Well, I wasn't pregnant at the same time as my mom, but I do have 2 children, and I know how aging that can be. Yet there are simple and effective ways to fight the signs of aging in your skin. And one thing, if you want to do something together that you can all do, is add a serum to your daily skincare routine. But it's really important that you each use a serum that's right for your unique skin stage. Thankfully, the beauty brand number 7 has 3 clinically proven age-defying serums that I highly recommend for all of you because they deliver younger-looking skin in as little as 2 weeks. So, Aunt Lydia, we're going to start with you. Number 7's Restore and Renew Face and Neck Serum is for women with deeper wrinkles who are also experiencing some sagging on their face and their neck. And what it does is it strengthens the epidermis, which firms the skin and helps to treat those deep wrinkles and neck crepiness.
I always hear this word crepiness. What is that? What is crepiness?
Well, let me explain. It is a term that we dermatologists use to describe texture. So if you think of crepe paper, it's that sort of thinning and wrinkling
like
on the neck.
We used to.
Yeah, like for
paper.
parties.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it. Is there a serum that could help Darlene and Christine?
Definitely. Number 7's Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Serum is ideal for Darlene. It's for women in that middle stage who, in addition to wrinkles, are starting to notice age spots as well as changes in texture. This one helps improve skin firmness and also has a brightening complex to even out skin tone. So for Christine, you mentioned that you're starting to notice some fine lines around the mouth. Number 7's Protect and Perfect Intense Advanced Serum contains hyaluronic acid, which helps plump the skin. According to the brand's clinical research, 96% of women showed a visible reduction in the appearance of those fine lines.
So, ladies, it sounds like Dr. Batra and number 7 have taken care of your skin concerns and crepiness. So what do you think?
Great. I think it's wonderful. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Me too. I really need it. I really need it.
Well, ladies, there's some great news, which is that you can find all 3 number 7 serums at Target and Target.com, and they're each available for under $35. But number 7 is giving you each a year's supply of the serum that's right for you.
And audience, you are all going home with all 3 number 7 serums as well. Okay? So, I'd like to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Sonia Batra. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And if you need my help with a life situation, I would love to hear from you. Just email me and tell me your story at drphil.com. Or if you'd like to be part of our studio audience, we have fun here, right, guys? The tickets are free. All the information is on my website, or you can call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445. We'll see you next time.